Welcome all to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. I am Mike, aka Veteran Crypto, and this is Jeff, aka the Blockchain Report. How's it going, brother?
Doing great, man. Doing great. We got a little rain this morning, so it's nice to get some of that in Cali. These hills are looking a little too dry, so it's nice to get some wetness out here. How about yourself? You're looking a
Oh,
little
I'm
dark
doing
over
good.
there.
What's that?
Looking a little dark on your end.
Yeah,
Is it
I'm gonna have to
daylight
adjust
savings?
that. I had to reset the stream because it wasn't going fully live, so I think it reset
Ah,
my camera settings and all that as well.
oh man. Oh yeah, I think in here as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
We got
yeah, I got some technical difficulties. All
some
right.
funky. We
Well,
rolling with it. We rolling with it.
yeah, so go ahead and roll us in with the socials, and I'm going to mess with
Yeah.
my camera a bit.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops, where we go live every Monday and Saturday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, on our YouTube channel, DeFi Crypto and Airdrop. We also go live on our X accounts, which I'll share in a minute, but you can follow our brother channels here: Discover Crypto, Blockchain Basement, BitLab, my channel, The Blockchain Report, and Vet's channel, where he goes live Sunday nights, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and they talk about more stuff outside of crypto. A lot of great roundtable talks. So you can check out Vet's Twitter at Veteran4Crypto. Shares a lot of stuff here that we can't necessarily get to on YouTube during these streams. So a lot of great alpha. And you can catch me at the BCR142. And make sure that you are following the right accounts. And if anybody DMs you or messages you asking to invest or asking for money, make sure that it's not like we won't do that. So make sure that you are following the right ones. And if anyone tries to reach out to you and scam you, reach out to us and we'll do what we can to help. But protect yourself. Yeah, make sure you're following the right people and the right accounts and stay safe out there. But
Absolutely,
man,
absolutely.
Fondle My Nuggets, Hippie Holder, Keyston, Deadwood, Hippie Holder, Nick Dunn. Thanks for joining. We got anyone on X? Nope. Oh yeah. If you're on X, hop on over to YouTube. You can get in the chat if you don't
Yeah,
have the little gold check.
give us a follow. So yeah, no, I'll jump in. I'm going to do just a little bit of news. Got some exciting Plume Alpha and a little bit
Mhm.
of just updates on DeFi and RWA, TVL, and volumes and whatnot, just to kind of keep our finger on the pulse of kind of how the markets are moving. Anybody that's paying attention, that we've got some decent price movement as far as. Excuse me, let me silence my phone. Um, let's see. All right. Um, so yeah, we've had some good price movement lately. We've kind of stabilized as of today. We had some good movement over the weekend. ETH is sitting at about 2,500. I am very glad that my ETH liquidity pool is back into range because I'm making like 50, $60 a day on that bad boy, and it's been out of range for quite a
Oof.
while. So Bitcoin is has kind of nestled in over 100K, so that's nice for all the Bitcoin holders out there. And let's jump into, so you can see that. Let me squeeze this over a bit. You can see that as of late, we're starting to see a nice increase in the overall decentralized exchanges, as far as the TVL and the DEX volume. So, we're starting to go parabolic on those. Anytime that we see, good volumes or, good price appreciation in the markets, and you see people coming in, that are wanting to trade and wanting to, short, long, and do all these different things, you're going to start to see a lot of this, stuff spike because, people are going to be swapping, people are going to be, doing the things that people do on DeFi. And of course, that's how we earn our fees. And so, this is something that you always on DeFi Llama, the overview, I would have this saved to your favorites. This is going to be a really good indicator if it's a good time to enter a new position and potentially where that position's at. There's a lot of things that you can look on here. and see where the liquidity is going. And wherever the liquidity is going, that's where the volume is going. So, if Sonic is the hot, the hot, the protocols, the hot protocols are on Sonic. That's where you want to go. If it's AVAX, that's where you want to go, and just basically diversify. And I'll be sharing.
That's a good tip, actually. Because the hotter that chain, the more volume you're gonna get, and the more rewards you're gonna get from that as well. So, it might not hurt to, oh, if you see the volume kind of dying off on this chain and another one picking up, you could, shift your funds over, take a
I
portion, maybe, or
I would actually advise against that because then you
okay,
end up chasing volume, and as quickly as it starts in one place, it could go
true,
back to where you left. So I would leave that one as long as it's earning for you. As long as it's if you're looking at impermanent loss and the yield you're earning is outpacing that impermanent loss, I just leave
hmm
it. But you can take the yield that you farmed for like the past week or month or whatever, those profits, and open a new position on that where that volume and that liquidity is going to. So then you end up diversifying and you're planting seeds. These liquidity pools. If you got some on Sonic and you got some on AVAX and some on ETH and some on Base, no, it gets to a point to no matter where the volume goes or where the liquidity goes, you have something there. You get what I'm getting at?
yeah, yeah,
So
that's a good point.
that's I mean I never like to chase. It's just
Mhm.
it's never a good idea. But anyway, again, DeFi Llama is by far my favorite tool. Here's another part of DeFi Llama. I was looking earlier at some places that potentially I could put start some stable coin pools because I'm going to start peeling profits if these markets really start to take off and I start hitting my
Mhm.
milestones on my ladder out strategy for this bull
Mhm.
run. I want to know where I can start, get the most yield on my stables. And so I started doing a little bit of research on that again, right here on DeFi Llama. It's the go-to place for data and analytics when it comes to DeFi. Um, let's
Yeah, because you
see.
shared that on Saturday. You're kind of ladder out where the percentages and
Yeah,
stuff that you're gonna take. Yeah, if you guys
and
haven't
and
watched that, go back and check out our show on Saturday, and Vet kind of dives
absolutely.
into a good ladder out. Yeah.
And I actually posted those spreadsheets into. I'm hoping tomorrow morning early. I have a meeting with Discover Crypto and the whole gang there, and we're going to be talking about when the new Discord is going to be going live. And so I put those spreadsheets. The couple of people like Steve-O and stuff that got early access to that, they got access to those sheets this morning, and as soon as we go live with that, you guys
hmm
come in, join the DeFi Den and the airdrop, hunters rooms, and you'll get access to those sheets. They're all free. I mean, we're not charging for anything. You can just save them and start tracking your DeFi portfolio, your overall portfolio, and you can also plan out your ladder out strategy with the percentages and the price points that you're going to ladder out, and it will automatically compute, what you'll end up having, if you stick to your strategy and hit all your targets. So great tools, great tools. This one here is another one that just has to do with pools, and this is kind of what made me think about getting into a couple of beefy pools that I'll get into in the DeFi portion after after Jeff's done talking about this new project. But this is a great place to come. You can see, you can search by chain. So I was looking for a place to put some Sonic liquidity. So I just filtered by Sonic. And right here, it tells me, where I can go to get, really good APYs. There's some, reward APYs, 30-day, APY, what platform it's on, what assets, that you need to deposit, all those sorts of things. So I can't stress it enough. DeFi Llama. If you're going to be in DeFi, this is a must-have. All right, now, for all of my plume lovers, I know that the Deadwood. I know you're one of my plume lovers. I know that Jeff is a plume lover, and doing DeFi and earning fat yield. on those pools. I mean, right now I think it's like 300% or some shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
343% that I'm earning right now on this pool. In the past 12 days, I've earned about $170 on about $2,900. So do the math. I mean, people that are in these plume pools and super wide range, 15 cents to 25 cents. I mean, super wide range. It hasn't gone out of range once. And I mean, you can make it even more narrow and earn even more. But again,
Hmm.
I don't want to miss out on the price appreciation. As soon as this thing goes, mainnet goes live, I suspect that we're going to see, some price pumping. But that being
And one
said,
percent a day is pretty good.
yeah, 30%, per month, that means you're basically doubling your freaking bag every 3 months. And
Yeah.
that's just if it stays where it's at. So,
Plume
um
Mainnet hasn't even launched yet, so you're
no.
you
No,
get
that's
in.
that's the thing, and I'll get into a little bit, in the DeFi portion. I'm gonna get into some updates on Plume, but, for
Hmm.
the news portion, I want to cue you guys in on this on plume.org/blog. This is their Bloomberg News, and this is going over today. They launched the Plume Alpha. It's the pre mainnet launch, but you can go into here and it will give you all kinds of alpha on this Solomon Benai. He's the new general counsel for Plume. He has a really good resume. Goes into that. You have like anytime that they have uh, a new partner, like this Matrix doc, they post it here. You got Apollo, you got Paimon, Ondo, you have Nexus case study. I mean, just anything that you want to know about what Plume is up to, who they're building with, who a new
Hmm.
partner is, if they're having if they're going to a new convention or something like that. I mean, it just the list goes on and on and on and on. I can't stress it enough. If you're into Plume, this needs to be on your favorites as well.
Yeah,
So,
KJAM. Plume is not on testnet anymore. They're done.
mhm.
They haven't launched their mainnet yet. They're still kind of building that out, and Vet's going to go into kind of the breakdown of the next phases that they're starting this week, actually.
Yes. So they dropped this today, this morning, super early, and they're calling it the Plume Alpha. And I'm gonna give you some high points of this because I don't want to take up the whole episode with this. So the key functionalities, the RWA tokenization engine, ARC, it is basically going to be their onboarding to digitize real world assets. And they're saying it's with ARC, it's only going to take a couple of minutes to tokenize an actual real world asset. I know my brother is wanting to do this with real estate. And so I'm keeping my finger on the pulse of this.
He's trying to
But
reach out to the team, right?
yeah,
Or somebody. Yeah.
and so I'm sure they're busy getting ready for the mainnet launch, but it basically allows to tokenize a wide range of real-world assets, including real estate, oil royalties, mineral rights, abstract concepts such as economic indicators, carbon credits, whatever. And it simplifies the process of bringing off-chain assets on-chain. It has integrated compliance. So if you're not familiar, anytime you deal with finance at all or government, you have to be compliant. And
Mhm.
so with the compliance integration, that's why Plume is so powerful. Is it's going to allow protocol or chains that don't natively have compliance built in. It will give them that functionality to ensure that they're staying in line with the regulation as it evolves, and not just in one jurisdiction. So the U.S. might have certain compliance or regulatory bodies and regulation, and then the UK might have something different. The
Yeah.
Russia might have something different. Saudi Arabia could have something different. So this is modular to where it ensures that anybody that's building and that's trading or that's moving these real world assets is staying in compliance with whatever regulatory authority has jurisdiction over, who's buying and who's selling and things like that. So that's key, and that's what I keep stressing about Plume is it's not just a place for real world assets to be tokenized. It actually has the interoperability using layer 0 and a lot of these compliance things built into it natively. So it's basically the picks and shovels of RWA. Let me know if there's any questions.
Is
Um,
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
KJM asked also, how does Arrow compare to, or how do you compare Arrow to Plume? And
Apples and
yeah,
oranges.
yeah,
Apples and
totally.
oranges, brother. So Arrow is a platform for liquidity, to earn
Yeah,
yield,
an
and
exchange.
yeah, it's a DEX. Whereas Plume is more of a it's an RWA play. So really, all it is just tokenizing real world assets and allowing the buying and selling of those assets, across international borders, things like that.
Oh, and
So
Plume is located in because he asked if it was U.S. based, and no, not ISO
no,
2022. Um, and I'm glad it's U.S. based in San Francisco and New York.
hmm
Or they moved from San Francisco to New York or something like that. But yeah, US based. And it's good that you mentioned the regulation abroad too, because when I worked for an EV company based out of China, we had our headquarters, North American headquarters here in the Bay Area, but they were rolling out slowly to other countries, first like Norway and then India, but they had to go through certain regulations that were totally different, and they had to make the car certain features completely different because of the way that the roads are or the regulations are there. So, and it was a problem coming to the US because the regulations here were so tough for them to get around. So it is important to understand the different rules and regulations around the world in different countries because it could gatekeep them from progressing further, in certain ways.
absolutely.
But yeah, just keep that in mind.
And to answer your question, KJM, if Trump does something to where U.S. based cryptocurrencies are tax free, then yeah, that is a possibility. It's just it all has to do with what legislation they draft. So the cross chain interoperability portion of Plume is called Skylink, and it's powered by Layer 0 sync pools. It
So
enables
not
cross
Chainlink,
chain. What's that?
not Chainlink.
Nope. It's
Yeah,
it's using Layer 0. So it enables cross-chain RWA yield distribution and asset transfers across 16 plus networks, including Ethereum, Solana, and Hyperliquid. This enhances liquidity and accessibility for tokenized assets. So to translate that, anything that is launched on Plume is basically going to be able to be bought, sold, traded, whatever across all of these different networks that that Layer 0 has interoperability with. So that's just kind of the long and short of that. Multi-chain access partnerships with platforms like Sony, um, Anon Pay allows Plume tokens to be used for payments at over 10,000 retail brands worldwide, driving real-world utility. Data integration using Nexus is what their offering is called. So on-chain data highway addresses challenges in bringing real-world data on-chain by providing efficient real-time data integration. This is critical for assets tied to dynamic off-chain matrix. Smart wallets, DeFi integration, borrow. So this is some cool things that I didn't know actually. They're going to be doing RWA Fi, which is yield
are you on a
farming and
different
staking.
screen?
No, I have this in
Okay,
my notes. I'm just leaving that up.
okay.
So I appreciate the call out though. Unless people want to look at my grok.
Yeah.
So yield farming and staking. Users can stake Plume tokens to secure the network and earn rewards, or use tokenized RWAs as collateral for yield bearing opportunities. such as loans or liquidity provisioning. So they're going to have DeFi natively on Plume, it looks like. They might have a platform when they go live. Borrowing and lending supports lending and borrowing of tokenized assets, enabling users to leverage RWAs
Yeah,
for liquidity or investment.
there
So
you
what
go,
that
KJM.
yeah, does
Yeah.
Plume lend on credit? So potentially, when like say that I have real estate and I tokenize it, if I'm reading this right and they have a platform for this, I can put that on the platform and I can take out a loan against that. And so it will allow for very easily accessing the liquidity of some of these real world assets that otherwise you might have to go to a bank, and if it's just bare
Hmm.
property, they don't lend on bare property. I mean, very few banks and stuff do. So as long as you have a real world asset and there's a value attached to it, then you can get a loan based off of it. And of course, you got to take into account the loan to value ratio and all the sorts of things so you don't get
Hmm.
liquidated. But again, it's just another way that it's putting the power in our hands, and we're not slaves to the banks.
And they'll fix that over time too, like incorporating more non-liquidatable assets, so that way you're more protected.
Mm-hmm.
Might come with certain fees or stuff attached, but it just all depends. Now, is Plume or Ondo better?
Oh, you know what? I would say that that's like apples and pears. Very similar, but not exactly the same. So
Yeah, Ondo is
Plume,
more financially like heavy, right? Like on the finance side,
my
not so much.
understanding is Ondo is for institutional. It's more for institutional tokenization. So like
Okay.
stocks, treasuries, things like that. Whereas Plume seems to be more of a foundation that projects like Ondo can integrate with, and
Yeah.
get access to all these different chains and all these different platforms, and things like that. So basically it Plume is kind of like a hub, like an RWA hub.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you have over 180 different projects, plus, that are currently working with and building on Plume. So I just see Plume being a beast when it comes to
Think of it as a Lego piece.
RWAs.
You just take that
Yeah.
Lego piece and plug it into your to Ondo's gonna take whatever Legos that they need from Plume and plug it into their layer one that they're building
Hmm.
out. And so yeah, like you said, the picks and the shovels. You want these pieces that can be modular and adapted over time. And yeah, it's great to see these integrations. Long gone are the days of the fixed one monolithic blockchain.
Yep.
We need
Yep.
modular shit.
No, interoperability, especially in DeFi and RWAs, is going to be key. And to answer your question, Brandon, you thought there was a partnership. Talks of a partnership between the two. Partnership done.
Yeah.
Ecosystem. Like I said, 180 plus. You got Nest, you got Ondo, you got Credible, you got Superstate, you got Centrifuge, Mercado, Bitcoin, Paxos, Layer Zero, Nucleus Finance, Anchorage Digital. You got all kinds of people. So I'm telling you,
Hmm.
if you're bullish on Ondo, you should be twice as bullish on Plume. So, and that's just my opinion. But again, it's like, that, plus just how much you can earn with it is just insane. I just been doing nothing but stacking, Plume.
Oh
All right.
yeah. And
So with that,
seeing these
oh, go ahead.
liquidity pools, man, it's been real nice.
Yeah.
It's
No,
real
it's
nice.
pretty much. I have not I have not talked to a single person that has gotten into these Uniswap Plume USDC liquidity pools that is not 100% pleasantly surprised and happy. There's you, my brother, Deadwood, myself. I think Mr. Mark got into them. Ellie got into them. There's just a ton of people that have gotten into these plume pools and just loving it.
Hmm.
So that is, let's see. I'll hit a couple of these and then I'll kick it off over to you. So
Sounds
why
good.
Plume stands out. So this might answer some people's questions. Crypto native focus. It prioritizes RWA use cases over replicating TradFi, offering novel opportunities like yield farming and tokenized carbon credits or collectibles. Comprehensive infrastructure vertically integrates tokenization, compliance, custody, and DeFi into a single stack, reducing complexity for developers and users. So it's a one-stop shop for everything RWA and DeFi. Scalability and interoperability, multi-chain support, modular architecture make it accessible across ecosystems and jurisdictions. And that's about it. I can go on, but I just wanted to give a quick update that it looks like they're about to go live on the main net. Is kind of the long and short of what I just went over.
Yeah, I don't know about RWAs on AVAX. Um,
I mean, there's definitely some good DeFi plays on AVAX, but RWAs, I haven't heard of a whole lot of anything when it comes to RWAs on AVAX. After Jeff is done, I'm kicking it over to him right now. Once he's done going over this cool new project, AI intellectual property project, then I'll get into a couple of new DeFi plays that I'm doing and testing out for you guys, and so you can see if if it's an epic fail or if it's going to be another good DeFi opportunity for all of you. How do you
yeah,
earn on Plume?
I
Nick
think you
Dunn.
showed the Uniswap pool, right?
Nick Dunn, I got you. Check this
Yeah.
out. Go to Uniswap and look up Plume USDC. Me right now, I'm in a ranged position, 15 cents to 25 cents, and it's only earning 11% right now. But for the past couple of days, it's been earning like 300%. So it fluctuates, but off of 2,800, 2,900 bucks in the past 12 days, I've earned about 170 bucks. So yeah, we're earning about 1% or more per day. 30% per month is about what we're tracking. All right. So Jeff, over to you,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah. Okay, let me get back. Share this out. Man, we got some. Where are we at? Aha!
Actually,
So,
perfect timing. I gotta grab my mouse is
ooh.
dying. I gotta grab my cord.
The dying mouse, the cat got him.
Yeah.
So we got a cool, not a new project, but they've been around for a few years now. But Camp Network, they just announced last month $30 million in funding for the next autonomous IP layer one blockchain. And I know we had Story Protocol that also does intellectual property, and this Camp Network, I would pay attention to it as well, since Story Protocol did pretty well with their launch. And yeah, just a lot of stuff with AI and intellectual property, which is important to have on the blockchain. And you can go and read through their uh, their post on this, but they just launched their testnet a few days ago, well, 4 days ago. So they have this K2 public testnet where you complete these quests, and I'll walk you through the interface and stuff. But I like how projects kind of have these little fun little gamified quests and campaigns where you go through little stages and complete social tasks and on-chain activities as well. Um,
And
so,
and a quick update is we talked about
oh
on
yeah.
Saturday that we're going to start setting up a that we're going to show you guys because we an episode not too long ago we talked about how you can basically get into DeFi and start building a portfolio for free
Hmm.
by using funding it with airdrop. So we're actually going to put our non-money where our mouth is, and we're gonna our free money where our mouth is. And Jeff is gonna actually start a wallet specifically for the channel. and he's going to start farming airdrops. And after we get enough money from the airdrops, then he's going to kick it over to me, and I'm going to start doing DeFi with it while he keeps feeding it airdrops. And
Yeah.
we're going to see how big we can grow the portfolio by the end of the bull run, and maybe do a little giveaway on it. So just wanted to give an
Yeah.
update on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I set up the Ethereum wallet and Solana and Cosmos, which are
Nice.
the three most common, ecosystems. And we're we got a bunch of, and we're only focusing on free test nets like this one. I'm gonna start once we get the rest of our socials created, because some of these, like this camp network, this is the testnet dashboard, and when you sign in, you're going to have to link your Twitter account. Some test nets will require linking your Twitter or and Discord, and it's good because they're starting to reward users for talking about projects on social media. So even if you post a few times about it, you could eventually be rewarded something. Like with the Initia airdrop, I got way more from just talking about it and posting about it on Twitter than I did from doing the actual testnet. And now Initia is freaking blast past all time highs, and it just launched
Yeah.
last month. So it's been, yeah, and that was free. So you want to make sure that you have a.
Well, and you got that Pengu airdrop too. That, I mean, it's currently worth what, about $1,300, but you said at one point is worth like 3 grand.
Yeah, yeah. That was
Well, still, I mean,
it's still
fucking
pretty good for
13,
free.
$1,300 for free. I mean, I'll take that.
Yeah,
I'll take $1,300, and then a free money
the
is.
Aptos. Yeah, Aptos was over 1,000 because from a free NFT mint that was on their
Hmm.
test net. So, um, and that was back when I first started. I was like, oh yeah, what's this test net stuff? So, um, here we will sign in, and this is where you want to set up a separate wallet for strictly airdrop stuff.
Hmm.
So that way you
If
are
you if
not.
you if you connect to something, you don't have all of your portfolio, to where if you
Mhm.
connect to something and it's malicious, they can't drain all your funds.
Yeah. I mean, if she looks good enough, she can drain everything she wants.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
Just kidding.
You'll say, it's like having a condom on your crypto wallet. You don't want to catch anything.
No, man. Don't want no Bitcoin succubus. So here's a little layout of it. You got a consumer cabin, social sparks, liquidity lagoon, all this fun stuff. You got a little help tab down here, a little tutorial. So we'll go through this little tutorial. So here's Sticky.
This
He's here
just
to show
sticky
all the
icky.
campers around.
He's all
So
he's sticky icky.
Sticky Icky. Ooh, I know Deadwood's probably can't get off his couch right now.
He was talking about dabs, doing dabs a second ago. Yeah, yeah. I don't think that's the dabs he was talking about.
No. So there's 6 sections offering different experiences, and each one you can earn matchsticks. And so Adobe AI, there's all kinds of different stuff in here that you click on, and there's different tasks for you to do in each one of these. And come on, I think it's a little slow. Oh yeah, I'm in the tutorial. That's right. But you can go down here and check out the quests, and I would go over to progress first because you need to link your Twitter account to get started. So right here, you'll click this camp network on the social sparks, and that's where you connect your social, follow them, and this refer friend, I can't get, it's not loading the right site. It just reloads this web page. Now these quests that you do, let me click on this pictographs one. These little matchsticks right here, that's what you'll get after completing each one of these. Like follow them on Twitter. and these matchsticks will contribute towards your airdrop because this is incentivized. And it is free, so you don't have to worry about spending any money, which is great. Join their community, and they usually have a few social tasks. Join or follow them on Twitter, share this out, and then there's some on-chain stuff on their testnet that you can do. That's mint a pictograph's memory card. So we'll do a little, and I haven't gone through this. This is my first time going through this, so if we have any painful technical difficulties, you get to suffer with me. Dude, sometimes I'll be recording a video and sitting here for like 2 or 3 minutes just waiting for something to work. Sometimes it's painful, but so pictographs, and I minted something on this project like 2 years ago. I think they're still building, but yeah. So we'll connect on this pictograph site, and you see it says switch to camp network testnet. Usually it'll say right here which network you're on. So you want to make sure you're on the camp network and not Linea. And make sure your wallet's connected. And here's where we can mint. Let me see if we actually need testnet tokens. Okay, so that's good to know. So it looks like you do need testnet tokens on the camp network, and that would be good to find out where they are at, because we need testnet tokens in order to pay for transaction fees. Now this is my first time on camp network, so what the hell?
I'm doing some calculations.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, sometimes these websites, the testnet sites can be buggy sometimes. And let's see, register.
What does this pay out?
Let me join this community for 2. Join your community. Let's see, this is free. Why isn't this working? Okay, let's go back. Now, I wish I could see where I can get these testnet tokens from. Actually, let me check this real quick, and because there's some site, this place. Oh, if you guys need a tip on sending gas, like Ethereum gas to Ethereum network, gas.zip, you can send up to $100 now, but it was basically pennies to send Ethereum over to the Ethereum chain from other L2s. So if you don't want to use a bridge and spend $5, gas.zip, you can send money across any chain pretty much, or any, I should say gas fee token. Okay, here we go. So I'll look for a bridge. I'm actually just gonna send over some gas tokens right now. Actually, let's do this live. We're gonna show, I actually have on my Discord, I have a testnet page with testnet bridges, and they call them faucets, where you get testnet tokens from. And let me show you guys real quick. Oh, I don't have the whole. Okay, I'll show you later. And since this is a new chain, there's not a lot of integration, so it's hard to find a good bridge for some of this stuff. The testnets specifically. Okay, I'm just gonna send some Ethereum. Yeah, I'm just gonna pay $1 to send some fucking Ethereum over in testnet tokens. I don't
Yeah,
care. I'll
freaking Ethereum mainnet's a pain in the ass, but it's kind of got to deal with it with when it comes to some stuff like those plume pools. It's the only place.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So if like earlier when it was super busy, I mean, I was looking at switching up some of my full range position into a range position, and I saw the gas, and I was like, yeah, no thanks.
Dude, yeah. Last night, um, I'll get into that in a little bit because I almost rebalanced my position last night when I faced a similar position with Ethereum just the other day. So it was kind of a good experience on both sides of the same situation. Like, do I rebalance and wait for it to go out or
It's
risk it
yeah.
going out? Yeah, it was
So maybe you can answer this. I know you're a lot more technical. So the new ETH upgrade, that just went live. Did you know if that's lowering fees like even more, or what's that doing?
I I don't know enough about it to be honest.
Okay.
The risk V or risk five
Yeah, yeah.
upgrade. I don't know a lot about it, but I'll look into that some this week because that would be good to know, and how that integrates. Okay,
I'm asking
so
the Grok.
yeah, I'll find a good place to get free testnet tokens. That way you guys don't have to bridge over. But now that I have some Ethereum gas fees, I'm gonna go back to this pictographs real quick, and we will go back and mint this memory card.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and any time anyone needs help with anything, like reach out to me on X or jump in the Discord and say, hey, I need help setting up this or setting up that or getting the right links. Cause so here we're minting this NFT. You can't see my wallet right now because it's actually let me.
Oh, if you share your whole screen, I think you can
Yeah,
see
I
it.
think entire screen.
So it looks like the mainnet gas fees are unchanged with the Pectra upgrade.
Okay, damn.
The Din Kun lowered them, but the new Pectra one didn't.
Okay, I'm gonna confirm this transaction in my wallet, and there you go. It's minted. Now let's see if we can
Nice.
get this matchstick. There you go. We got a matchstick, and now we add the Pictobot. So let's. Oh, this is a Telegram. Okay. Well, I got my Telegram open.
Black ice. The like button. Smash it, hit it, lick it, click it.
Ooh, you got to stick it
You got to lick it before you stick it.
before you stick it. Oh, okay. Telegram. I don't even know. What do we have to do for this? So add the Pictobot. Pictobot. Where did it go? Sometimes with Telegram, I have to reload this thing because it gets kind of slow. Okay, here's my Telegrams. Here's the Pictobot. Let's open the app. Oh, add to group.
Yeah, that Maverick.
Okay, so I
I got
gotta
my I got my eye on that Maverick protocol that we did that deep
get ready
dive
to
on not too
launch.
far back. Yeah.
I don't know if I can.
Hey, what up, Twinkle Bell?
I don't know if the Telegram function is working right now, but we can skip that.
I can't, I
Yeah.
can't, I can't wait till freaking we get this freaking Discord live. I want to get
Mm-hmm.
all of our DeFi crew, in there because and it's going to be nice because I drop a lot of really nice, really good pools that I find, and then like I said, those tracking sheets, and we can just all chat and talk about if anybody else finds good pools, they can turn us all on to them.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be great. And really, everyone like this stuff's pretty simple. I haven't done a deep dive video on this yet for my channel, which I'll be doing that this week. So if you do want to wait for that deeper dive to come out, because I'll break down every single one of these and go into it. But this would be great for you to get started as like a free testnet journey. Because it's some social tasks that's pretty easy, simple enough, and yeah, and I can help you with whatever you need. But with this being the AI and IP blockchain and seeing what Story Protocol uh,
Story
has
Story
built
did
out.
Story has done pretty well. Like, in fact, let me look it up real quick. Story is their IP is their ticker.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And 30 million, man, that they've raised by.
it's at $4.68 now. So since
Yep.
launch, it's been nice and steady, trending sideways. It is up to a fully diluted value of 4.7 billion. Great volume.
And I got 100 tokens just from the test net.
Yeah,
It was
so
free.
$68 you got.
Hmm. And I did a giveaway um, with like half of it. So, and then the other half I bought, some other stuff on the ecosystem, like IP related stuff. But yeah, uh, so don't fade this because it's pretty big funding, like 5-10 million. Is pretty good, but something upwards of 30 is pretty legit, and stuff that's pretty easy. You can set 5 minutes or 10 minutes a night and just go through some of these tasks, and that's it.
Mhm.
Just follow them on X, claim your matchsticks, and then whatever this on-chain task requires. But I will be coming out with a full video guide on this later this week, uh, probably Wednesday or Thursday. So yeah, please don't fade this because just like with Initia, if you can get free airdrops and then roll them into DeFi, I mean, holy shit! I've made like 40 or 50 Initia tokens so far in the past since they've launched, 3-4 weeks. So
Well, I mean,
and
what I'm hoping to do is whatever airdropped, if it looks like a good project, we'll keep a percentage of them, for long term hold, and then take a portion of them, and like I said, turn it into liquidity to DeFi. And like I said, keep feeding airdrops into the wallet, and I'll DeFi it, and we'll
hmm.
just see if we can get it to up to a couple grand or 10 grand or more.
Yeah. And also a tip when you guys are airdrop hunting, when you are asked to follow them on social or join the Discord, don't feel like you have to keep following them because there's a lot of projects that I'll unfollow and just complete like after I complete the task. Like some of these, I'll claim and unfollow them later, but especially Discord because Discord you only get up to 100 or so servers, and then if you on the free version, and then if you pay you can get more, but it's not necessary to stay in all of these Discords and follow all of these projects, but just do it for the task, and then once it's done you can unfollow them. So just a pro tip.
It looks like Black Ice. He owns some Coinbase stock, and looks like they got some awesome news today.
Ooh, hell
Well,
yeah. Would they have earnings? Maybe?
maybe he'll have to put it in the chat.
K Champ said looks like Windows 95. Yeah, some of these, man, they like like with Plume, they kind of are gimmicky, but if you think about it, the who's in Web3 right now? A lot of degens, a lot of young guys, and there's uh, I don't know. It's kind of funny, and you do have the devs who are kind of a little a little on the spectrum. So
Oh yeah. All right. So let's jump into. Are you done, brother?
yeah, yeah.
All
Take it
right.
away, man. Take it
So I'm just
away.
going to jump into a little bit of bullish news in DeFi as far as Aerodrome. So all-time volume surges past 200 billion. It took only just over a year for Aerodrome to reach 100 billion in volume. Less than 5 months later, it's done it again. So Aerodrome continues to accelerate. I mean, it's just you can look at the epochs, and the epochs is each week. So Wednesday to Wednesday is how the epochs for Aerodrome work, and that's in line with if you have an Aerodrome lock where you have VE Aero and you're getting those weekly payouts that I'm always talking about in flight school and things like that. That's what they align with is the epochs. So you can see that this is huge. Just in this time frame here, was the first 100 billion, and just in the past little while, just in the past 5 months, they've added a second 100 billion. So it's the growth is huge in Aerodrome. So if you're wondering if you should be bullish on Aerodrome, or if you should be buying Aerodrome, or if you should be using the platform to earn free Aerodrome, the answer for me is yes.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
All of it.
And then this guy's altcoins just hit their first golden cross in 4 years. Potentially, this means that we're about to go into alt season. We're already starting to see ETH, starting to go up in price. Definitely not to where we saw it before at 4,000, 4,500, but we're starting to see some life in it, which is definitely a good thing because that's what we're wanting to see to kick off alt season. New week, new all-time high. Aave. If you're into borrowing and lending, Aave is the pinnacle of borrowing and lending platforms. It's where I do most of mine. So they have 40.3 billion in net deposits, the highest TVL ever reached by a DeFi protocol. It is a beast. I mean, you can look at the analytics on it, and it's just freaking insane. So that's what I got for that. Now, this is what I've been messing around with. So right before we went live, I've been wanting to start using Beefy. And Beefy has a thing called vaults. And these vaults are just super straightforward, but they're automated pools to where you can enter them with single assets, kind of like VFAT. So you don't have to do those, the weird swaps like with Aerodrome where, you have to figure out I need this much of this asset, this much of this asset. You can actually just go to these, go to deposit. You can select, like from your wallet. Like right now, I'm on the AVAX chain, so you can see because I put some of AVAX into a pool before we went live. I still have about 21 AVAX, sitting in there. So I can actually just select a single asset, put how much, 50%, 100%, 75%, whatever. And like right now, it's not going to let me put it in. It's not going to let me deposit that liquidity because it's too volatile right now. But if it did, I could just deposit. I don't have to have an equal amount of USDC and wrapped AVAX. I can just have regular AVAX. It will automatically do all the swaps necessary to enter me in this pool. Super easy, super clean, super sleek. Love it. APY 921%. So daily, I'm making 0.63%. So just shy of every 2 days, I'm making 1%. So do the math. Great earning pool. Um, you can go to the dashboard and it gives you some really good analytics. You can see that my whole portfolio on here on Beefy. I have this small little test wrapped Sonic USDC pool that I entered with some earnings that I had from that was already on Sonic. So I wanted to test this out to see how well it performs. If it performs well, I'll probably put more liquidity in there. I put about $500 here, and yeah, so far, I mean, you can see I've earned 30 cents in the past hour. So, um, what was it?
Yeah.
Not too bad. So making $3.33 a day off of about $560. So, um, like I said, I'm just trying to test this out to
Hmm.
see how well it works. But what's cool about it is a lot of these they're automated, so they are ranged positions. And what it does is it auto compounds like every hour or two. It will actually take your yield that you've earned and auto compound it back into your position. And then also something cool that it does is if it goes out of range at some point, I haven't looked into it deep enough to know like how often. There might be a lot of variables involved, so it might be different for each pool. But these pools will auto rebalance as well. So this is a really good play to put some liquidity and potentially be a very low maintenance yield generating pool. So again, I just barely put these in. Here whenever we're doing different lives, live streams, we'll just keep checking in on this and see how it's doing. And and I'll let you guys know if this is a good play or not. But again, beefy and seems to be a really good play so far. And I'm also earning these like moo tokens or whatever they are for their native their native token for this platform, which has other earning potential as well. So next up is again I these bonus these uni token bonus pools are still going strong. Let's see what it's saying. Let's see. Pull this thing up and see when these uni rewards are supposed to reset.
Twinkle Bell said, "Isn't Beefy high in fees? Have you
I,
experienced?"
I haven't experienced that yet. When I got into the positions, it didn't seem to be very high, but it might be different when I go to exit. I'll let you all know. So it looks like tomorrow. It looks like these this bonus APR on the uni token will either reset or go away. So April 29th to May 13th, so 2 weeks. So hopefully it will reset and I'll keep earning these uni tokens because it's actually what I've been earning the most on in this USDC wrapped Bitcoin pool. So pretty much all my pools are from the beginning of the month. So I just so I could show all of you what I'm earning. On the first, I collected all the fees on all my DeFi positions. So in the past 12 days, I've earned about 2350 on this wrapped Bitcoin USDC pair. Plume, this full range position. Kind of why I'm thinking about getting in a range position. It only earned me about $7 on $1,000.
Hmm.
Um, this range position is earning great. 2,900 bucks. I've earned about 170, and then my VFAT. I've earned $63.30 on this USDC Arrow. Um, that's that same Bitcoin position. This other one, I've earned about $90 on this wrapped ETH just in the past 2 days. A little over 2 days. I've earned almost $100 off of
Damn.
4,200 in that wrapped ETH USDC. That thing is uh, a beast. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna freaking show you that
Shit.
one. I'm gonna show you that one on Aerodrome itself because it's like the largest pool on Aerodrome. So if you look at TVL, oh, actually, it's not right now. So you're looking at 26, 26 million in TVL, but look at the fucking volume, 1.6 billion
Damn.
in ETH volume. It, this
Shh.
thing earns, like, look at the fees. It's earning. This is the fees that they're paying out each week. $712 million in fees that they're
Ooh.
paying. If you're looking
Ooh.
for like an ETH pool, like Aerodrome is killing it with ETH. There is no better place I've found to earn on ETH right now. I mean, it is insane the amount of, and don't get it twisted. You're not earning 2,200% on this pool. If you come over here to VFAT, you'll get a more accurate feel. So like right now, I'm making about 227%, which is nothing to scoff at, but it's not 2,000%. Um, Aerodrome has a different way of calculating that. This is more a better real time gauge of what the pool is earning. But again, you know, even at 227%, I'm making $25 a day on 4,200 bucks. But I mean, I've seen this as high as like 900%, 800%. So yeah, some really good earning right now with the volumes that are going on in DeFi. But that's really all I was wanting to touch on. Um, was that beefy. Just the fact that it's another potentially really good opportunity to find some some really good automated liquidity pools. That kind of automatically, and yeah, there might be some higher
Yeah.
fees, but for that automation, for the automation that keeps you in range and auto
Mm-hmm.
compounds. I mean, that's all stuff that if you're using VFAT and you use their automations, you pay fees on those as well, like 1.8% sometimes. So yeah, I mean it's you kind of get what you pay for. But if you're looking for something that you're not having to manually go in there and rebalance and auto comp and compound and do things like that, this is looks to be a really good tool to do that, to where again, you just have a DeFi portfolio on autopilot that's just consistently earning. And of course, you're going to want to track it. On the dashboard, it actually has the P&L. So yeah, right here. So right now, because of price movement in AVAX, it's offset my losses a little bit with this 26 cents. But you can see my P&L right now is I've lost $3.90 since I entered this position, because AVAX has gone down in price and the earning isn't keeping up with that. Now when AVAX turns around and goes up in price, my P&L will go back up into the positive. But as of right now, I'm in the negative. My small position here, I'm 5 cents in profit. Because Sonic hasn't moved, relative to USDC, and I've earned 3 cents, so I'm actually up about 2 cents on Sonic, and then you add that 3 cents that I've earned in yield, and it makes it 5 cents. But again, I mean, I put like $35 and I'm able to turn a profit, the fees aren't that bad. But you have to start doing the math and figure out, okay, do I
Oh,
need to put?
did you crash? You
Are
back?
we get are we getting?
No, you're good. I think you froze and then dropped out for a second.
Oh, I'm hearing music.
You hear music? No, we're still going.
Oh,
I see.
there we go. All right, I turned the music off. So yeah, basically what I'm getting at is, you have to test these things out, and I'm trying to do that for you guys and girls, because you need to figure out if this is a play. Like if you're only dealing with a couple $100 of liquidity that you want to put in, you want to make sure you're not going to get eaten up by fees. So I'm kind of doing this for you, and I want to make sure that um, we ascertain how much liquidity that you need to be putting in these pools to ensure that it stays profitable. Because it might be to where it might be like a minimum of $1,000 in liquidity, to where the fees don't eat you up, and you're making enough to outpace those fees or the impermanent loss, or whatever. So anyway, that's kind of what I was getting at. And Twinkerbell, does it matter when
Yeah.
to enter a pool? I personally like to enter pools um, when an asset is beat down, like maybe on a pullback, so that especially if you're going in with stable coins. So if you're going to be, if you took some dry powder and the markets take a dump, and you have a bunch of USDC or USDT on the side, that might be a good time to get in, because when the asset starts going up, you're going to get that price appreciation plus whatever yield you're earning. I wouldn't, if we've pumped a bunch, it might not be a good time to be switching that USDC or USDT into a volatile asset like AVAX, or ETH or something like that, unless you're doing it on a pullback. Just because you know you don't want to chase green candles on anything. So that's probably the best answer that I can give you. Other than that, think of it as DCAing. Me personally, if I have a bunch of, I try to take my profits weekly. I'm just kind of letting these marinate because I'm wanting to do it for a month to kind of show how much I've been earning. But when the markets start pumping and I start earning like a decent amount of money, I'm going to start taking profits weekly, and probably into
Mm.
stables. In Bitcoin, as long as Bitcoin doesn't go on a major tear, I'm going to probably be exiting, laddering out into those. But yeah, I mean that's probably the best answer I can give you. Is just when it comes to DeFi, you just want to continually be building your portfolio, and then as the markets start to pump, make sure that you're taking those profits in, and converting them. Either taking them in stables like on VFAT, how you can choose to take them in stables, or as soon as you take them from places like Uniswap, um, like the Plume USDC pair. I'm earning Plume and USDC at the same time, but whenever I start taking those profits when the markets are pumping, I'll probably convert the Plume into USDC, just to lock in that value. Because whenever the markets, if they end up taking a dump at any point, or if we go into the bear, I want to make sure that I don't round trip these assets. So again,
Hmm.
make sure that you're using that tracking sheet that I'm offering for free. That and start building out your ladder out strategy now. And these will be my closing thoughts. Because if you don't have a strategy now, when you're calm, logical, and collected, when the markets start pumping, and I know you've seen it if you've been in the market at all, when everything starts pumping, everybody starts getting euphoric, and everyone starts talking about this moon math of everything's going to 50x and 100x, and you're going to hold on too long. Make sure that you build your strategy. And here, I'll show you again, show you mine real quick. So, this is mine. Where, I have my Casper, I have, my DAG, my Arrow, my Ondo, my Plume, Link, all these different ones that I have, the tokens, and I have, okay, I'm selling 10%, I'm selling 20% here. I plan on keeping 10%, I'm going to hodl long term into the bear because this is my ladder out. If I hit every single one of my milestones. If like say if Casper ends up getting to 50 cents, I'm able to hit, all of these ladder out total. I'm going to end up with $581,000. And my goal is 500,000 because I expect I'm not going to hit all of my targets. I want to try to get as close as I can to 500,000. But once I can get you guys this sheet, then you can plug in your own numbers. However many tokens you have. If you want to do 10% there, 10% there, you can see it auto calculates and changes. I put that back and it bumps it back up. Just whatever price points that you want to use, and whatever percentage that you want to. If you want to end up hodling 50%, you can build this out to where you're only laddering out 50% of your hold. You can decide, and then it auto does this as well where it tells you that this is what your portfolio is looking like. I got 33% Casper, 21% DAG, 19% Arrow. It just builds all this out, automatically with the formula. So anyway, that is all I got. You got anything in closing, brother?
Oh man, I found the faucet for the testnet tokens for camp, but um, and this is a good example of the ways that projects will kind of not gatekeep, but put a filter on entering their test net. So some of these projects like camp will require you to have at least zero point 0.05 ETH on mainnet or have a transaction history. So if you want to use their main testnet token faucet, you have to have those requirements. So if you set up a fresh new wallet, you would just need to have a transaction on Ethereum. But I'm currently looking at ways of getting testnet tokens bridged in. So just yeah, wait on that and wait for my video to drop, and then I'll have everything come out. So I know some of these, Brandon mentioned earlier something about the concept of free testnet tokens to mint and doing all these testnet quests was lost on him. So, I know it's a lot of stuff, getting the testnet tokens and finding the projects and
It's a lot
all
of
it,
hoops. It's a lot
yeah,
of hoops to
there's
jump through.
a lot. And even I can get frustrated. And I'm an engineer, so I'm very technically sound. And some of this stuff, I'm just pulling my hair out. But and that's why I want to try and make this as simple for everyone to follow. So, when I find pain points like this, I want to make sure I can get the best information to you guys quickly so that way you're not dragging your feet. And it will, if stuff prevents you from getting involved like this, it can deter you from even participating. And,
Mhm.
I've not participated in certain test nets and because of technical issues, and they've been pretty well for other people. So, it's just the name of the game. But just don't get frustrated. If you do run into issues, please, like I said, hit hit me up on X. I'm happy to help. Me and Vet, anything, DeFi or airdrops, we're
Yep.
we're always happy to help you out, especially if you're not sure that a project looks safe or any question at all, please come to us. Um, yeah, be
So
happy to
we
help.
so we got a blasphemer in the chat. So Twinkerbell says that
Oh no.
they have Arrow and USDC just sitting in a wallet. We need to come up with some way to shame people. Like
It's just
shame,
burning. You're
shame.
burning.
No, it's no. I mean, I'm just giving you crap, but yeah, like Arrow, like for me,
Put it to work.
I can't. I can't help it. I have to put it to work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and if you got Arrow and USDC, I mean, enter a pool. It's like start putting that money to work. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
anytime I have an asset that's just sitting there that's not earning yield, it's really hard for me to like. And I'm kind of glad there isn't any good Ondo pools because I have some assets that there isn't any there isn't any good pools that I'm willing to uh, leverage my assets. Like I'm not going to get into an Ondo ETH pool because of the assets and how they move differently. I don't want to end up losing all my Ondo tokens because Ondo starts to pump and ETH starts to dump and I get divergence loss and I end
Mm-hmm.
up with a bunch of ETH and no Ondo. So 100 bucks. Mm, you might want to build that up a little bit. I mean, 100 bucks is 100 bucks, but yeah, that's it. That's what I was looking for, Brandon. Shun the non-believer.
Johnny.
you know, that's what I was trying to come up with. Brandon, you're
Yeah.
awesome, dude. That's exactly the freaking Charlie
Well,
the Unicorn.
Twinkle Bell. Last month I had just like what 330 bucks or something like that, and I was making like 20 bucks a week. So
Okay. Well,
if
I guess if you do a
over
range,
time,
you could do a
yeah.
range position.
Well, that was on
Yeah.
Plume. Sorry, that was on Plume, not the Arrow. But I
Well,
mean,
Arrow,
yeah,
you
even.
you could do a range position and probably do pretty well.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, you know what, Twinkerbell? I mean, if it's something that you're thinking about doing, maybe play with a ranged position with Arrow USDC, and see if you can. I mean, worst case scenario, you go out of range out the bottom. You're going to have a bunch of Arrow, and if you end up going out of range on the top, you're going to have some price appreciation. You're still going to earn, from the price of Arrow going up,
Hmm.
but it's going to DCA you out into all USDC. And so when that happens, you have to decide if you think that Arrow is going to keep going, then you're going to want to rebalance so that you can keep getting price appreciation and earning yield. Or if you think that it's going to drop back down into range, I usually wait 24 hours. Anytime any of my range positions go out of range,
Mm.
I like even if I think it's going to keep dumping or whatever or keep pumping, I always wait 24 hours just to make sure it doesn't come back into range because it happens all the time. It happened to Jeff on his plume
Oh
position.
yeah,
It went up, it went out of range out of the top, and then he waited and it came back down into range. So,
yeah, and that's one thing I wanted to thank you for bringing that up because that's one thing I wanted to show was the two position. Oh, I'll let you finish.
oh no, go ahead. To
Okay.
answer really quick to answer KJam, it's not necessarily because of fees. Aerodrome, the fees are like fractions of a cent. That's why I love Aerodrome. It just everything that you do on there is on base, so fees don't eat up any of your profit. So you can actually use 100 bucks and probably do pretty well. Obviously not going to get rich, but you might make 50 cents, a buck or two a day or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, have at it. It's not like Uniswap where, you're dealing with ETH mainnet fees sometimes and, things like,
Yeah,
if you're dealing with base network, you should be all right. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So this was the range on the Ethereum USDC pool that I was in, right? And as soon as the night before, I was literally like, oh, I'll rebalance. I thought about rebalancing because I thought ETH was going to pop out. And this was the day before the, what, the trade thing last week. And I was like, okay, I'll wait. And then the next morning, it just, like you see right here, it was no chill. No chill.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me wait the next day. And the next day, it was still. So what I was thinking, okay, I can. get into another pool up here or a range position, but look what it did the next day. It ripped up even higher. So instead of trying to chase the pump of Ethereum, I'm exited, you know, with my USDC because going out of the top, you're in USDC. So
Yeah.
instead of jumping back in and potentially catching, it on the way down, which I didn't want to do,
Yeah.
I decided to move this into Plume. And, Plume was staying in range. And so I just stuck it in here, right? And then a few days later, as of last night, Plume was looking like it was getting ready to rip up. And I was like, fuck, is this Ethereum again? Plume's got the mainnet stuff coming. And
Hmm.
I was like, I could rebalance my position on Plume, but I was looking at the gas fees and it was like $4 or something to rebalance. So I didn't do it. And thankfully I didn't because it stayed in range. So that's the two sides to the same story. You can be like, oh fuck, I should have rebalanced that and done this and this, but then this situation, okay, I same thing. I didn't rebalance and it was good for me. So, don't beat yourself up if you do one thing and then it works and it doesn't another time. It's just how it is in crypto. You just got to make sure that you're staying calm and not just making irrational decisions, just because it pisses you off.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. No, and I'll tell you, um, it me personally, whenever it goes out of the top of the range, it's a different story if it goes out the bottom. But if it goes out of the top of the range, one thing that I always, when I go to rebalance, I look at those, resistance and support levels. Let me see if I can.
Oh, the Camp Network team in their Discord said that they're working on a testnet bridge right now. Ha ha ha, nice. Oh, is it on? Oh,
What do
oh, you're you popped out and popped back in.
we get music keeps going on. All right, so you can see this is that wrapped ETH USDC position, and you can see this is the range that I'm currently in is about 2,400 to 3,000 is, and but you can look back here and you can see, kind of why I picked that range is, this is, this whole time I was out of range and I left it because I didn't want to lock in that, those losses, because when it went out the bottom, I ended up with like 1.68 ETH. And I had already rebalanced, like it came into this range and I was in this range earning, and it dropped out again, and then I rebalanced and it dropped out again. And so I stayed out of range for basically from about here to about there. So what is that? That is about 31, about 30 31 days. So about a month. I was out of range for about a month. But I came back into range. But one thing that you can do,
And see how perfectly you're right in there too on that retest on
yes,
Ethereum.
and it's because I use these, that basic TA that I was doing with Kelly, where you look for these prior levels of support and resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Like this top one here, you can see that, it dropped down, bounced, dropped down, bounced, came here, dropped down, bounced, dropped down, bounced, and then it broke down. But you can see that these levels have acted as support and resistance at some point. So say that we start pumping again and I end up having to rebalance, depending on, where we go and where I rebalance, then I might use something like this. Like you can kind of see like around in here. I'll change the
Mm-hmm.
color. You can kind of see that that acted as resistance for a while. So that might be a good level. This one here, if we pump past 3,000, 3,000, is a great psychological level because it's a round number, but also it acted as support for quite some time. So that might end up being, my new, lower end of my range. And I might end up setting something like this as the upper end, 35, 3,600, somewhere around in there.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's really volatile, maybe I'll put it all the way up here at 4,000. Again, a good even number, good psychological level. It's acted as resistance, double tapped it before back when it was at all time highs for this run. So that's kind of all I do on when it goes out of the top. If I see it's setting a new range, and I'll go ahead, after 24 hours, if it's lingering up there, I'll start thinking about setting a new range because I'm not too worried. As long as I'm going to be earning.
You
Like
freeze up
market
again?
manipulation or something like that, then
Uh,
oh, all right,
it must
all right.
it must not
I
like
think
you
I
to
think that's our signal.
Oh,
That's
you're
our
muted.
signal.
I don't hear you.
You don't hear me? How about now?
Are you there? Or is
Can you
it?
hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, it might be my. The heck?
Can you hear me now?
I wonder if it's me. I don't hear him. Huh.
Hello, hello.
It might be
Yeah,
my side.
yeah. It says mine's working. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and we'll end it. And till next time, Veteran Crypto out.